All right, all right, all right. It's 4 a.m. 4 a.m. in this undisclosed location. How are you doing today? And how is my sound doing today? I really do want to make sure. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, let us make sure. I get a little bit worried about my connection even at 4 in the morning. But let's turn this off and get the real content going. I was just up in the middle of the night and I started to log in to these quarry fields that Randall Carlson stated have been quarried for hundreds and thousands of years. And I thought, well, what about these parallel lines that are all around these quarry fields? If you don't know me, then you don't know that I went here and I was standing right here on this location right there. I did visit this fortification right here. What I didn't know at the time was that my mouse, I got to get rid of, is that just less than a kilometer away, I could have visited the quarry fields that are right there to the left. But you live and you learn, don't you? In fact, it took me a long time to figure out what Randall Carlson was even talking about. Nobody ever said the quarry fields. The question I have is, what's higher, the sand? No, this is lower right there. We can go and get the topographical map going. I'm not going to do this all night. I just wanted to show you these lines. But before we do, let's just pull up a topographical map to see what we're up against. I do need to get a mouse that responds better to my fingertips. I'm getting bored with this. I have to really push down, and then it makes it go into that mode, whatever you call that mode. I hate it so much. Furthermore, I am using an electric heater, and if I have two of these, they shut down my whole system. All right, so here we are looking at the Richat structure in topography mode, and we're going to zoom in there a little bit. Now, the place we're going is the outer third ring. So there is a cliff structure here. Where are we? Am I at the right place? It's kind of hard, so I'm going to use this Esri imagery along with it so I can find my exact location. And there we are. And so that's what I want to look at. Let's get rid of that Esri image. And as you can see here, this is lower, and there's an actual height there. It's about 1438 yellow. And then we have the higher areas, which is like maybe 100 foot higher. And you can see that when you look at that cliff right there, that it's probably a nice 100 feet, maybe 50 feet, depending on where you're standing. Not hard to get up on top of and go around if you can't climb it. And there's your quarry fields. There's a few of them. This is another one right here. It's so close to where I went. And you can see the parallel quarrying lines of paths that have been created between the higher areas of bedrock. And that's what they wanted. They wanted that mega breccia. What did they want it for? That's a good question. But then you see a line like this. And you say, wow, how did that happen? Is that a natural feature? Well, maybe. But when you start to see that it's almost parallel with this one, and you can see 1, 2, 3, this is not exactly the same parallelity. Over here we have one that we didn't look at yet, another quarry field. This is a higher mound, and then that's the lower area. And look, it's almost east-west. East-west. I can't rotate this. East-west. The first one looks like it was cut between the plateau that's on the north side. So there looks like there's a cut through. But I teased you into this video to talk about to talk about canals. And that's where I found these structures were interesting because they are possible. What happened? It went back to the original one. This is kind of I wouldn't call it a canal. Okay, not at this, but what you do see here, if you look at this topographic area, is you're looking at the red part is the highest. And when you go around, you see these lines do seem to cut through. Let's go down here, right there. And that one doesn't get all the way through, but a couple of them do. Let's go and look at this one here. Just zoom out a little bit. I want to get into those that we were just looking at down here. So this whole ridge if we're talking about something that happened during the time of Atlantis and before, this would, and let's assume that this are the concentric circles of Atlantis, you would have water on both sides, but on the top of this ridge, you would have actual quarry fields sticking up through the water. Let's back out and take a look at what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this area is the highest point at 2,000 feet. The islands, the concentric islands in the middle, the circular islands, they're almost the same height. That's very high, but if you go down to, say, here, it's the same color. So this height is the same as this height. And down here at the bottom where you get the playa lakes and the salt flats, you are down to about 1,000 feet, maybe a little bit higher, 1190. So 1190 compared to, what color is this? This is not red anymore. It's turning, I don't want to say pink, but that's technically what you get when you add white to red, is pink. So here we are with the pink starting at 1793. So that's not really a big difference. What is that happening? You've got yourself this right here. Let's take a look at that in the, and that's going to change everything, but we can compare it to above the red, 1780, maybe 1866. But when we get, oh, you know what we can do here? We can use this feature. That's a great feature. So let's zoom in and do it that way so we don't have to guess. Here again, if I click right there, 1551. If I click right here, 1513, a little lower than the cliff. That one's a little higher than this cliff. Can you see that? So believe it or not, this mountain ridge is higher than the shoreline outside. Let's not forget that when we're looking at these lines that are cutting through. So this is the thumbnail I used to bring you in. And you can see something cutting through here. You can see something, it almost looks like it cut all the way through. Now, if we go to this topographic map and look at it under the image here, it looks like it's not going all the way through. That's quite interesting, actually, because it could mean that everything I'm saying is false. But when we look at the map, we see very clearly there's a line going through here. Where's that line in this map? You're not really seeing it too much. Let's look at the imagery again. That way we can see it all. So, yeah, what I'm seeing here is the highest point has these cut-throughs. Well, now remember, if this was a canal leading to the other side, you wouldn't need to get down to the 1285, the green down here. You would just need to get across to the other side. So am I seeing different heights here? I mean, to me, this looks like it's the same height as this. Why does it have the cut-through if it's an ancient canal? However, we do see a lot more than just that. We're seeing lines that go all the way through this bedrock. Looks like they've been cut. That looks like it's been cut to me. So now I've never driven over in this part. I've driven past it, but I never looked at this part. But doesn't it look like we have a line going all the way from here to here, all the way to here? I mean, it's not circular. It's not following the curve, but it looks like we've got this cut through. And maybe even some quarrying going on. So this seems to cut over here. Definitely looks like cut canals right in the Richat structure, right? And I guess I can back out. I love this is actually, and there it's down on the bottom. This is actually Apple Maps. I'm using satellites.pro to do it. A bunch of ads in my way. However, at least I can have a second look since Google Earth always updates with some weird that's why there's all these ads that if I click the X, it won't disappear. It'll just show me an ads by Google prompt. I mean, this right here almost has a perfect 90-degree angle in the quarry field. Randall Carlson himself, even though he's more focused on the open sea, I don't know about any oil exploration done in the area. Thank you very much for your question and comment. R. Hammond, I suspect you are in Europe or the UK. Where are you at? Why are you up at 4:19 a.m. American California time? An undisclosed location in California, that is. Yeah, so I'm really curious. I mean, you do see it kind of gives up this line, but could it have been a higher buildup of material and there was something going on here that made it important to cut through that line? Unfortunately, with this, we're not really seeing everything we want to see here, but I'm looking at this line going across. Do you see a buildup here? Well, let's get rid of the imagery here. A little bit. You don't really see, and by the way, I don't trust this topographic map. Ah, Germany. I definitely need to get out there. Thank you for your comments. So this is the highest two little mountain peaks right here, but do you notice that's on the yellow? You can't trust this topographic very much. I'm so curious about this. And look, you do have almost a parallel line right there, right here going through. I actually was going to do it with my thumbnail, and I didn't get it. I didn't get there yet, but I can do it right now and just focus on making some lines. So if I use this, did I say thumbnail? Yes, but this one here, look, I mean, see, that's the problem. I can't make them straight. So that looks terrible, but you've got these lines here, and when you go over, let's just get out of there. We don't really need that, do we? You've got this one here, and it seems like it's got a little meeting over here. This one was in the thumbnail. And it seems like they come together in a very weird spot, if you ask me. Why are they like this? Geologically, what's the explanation? And if it's unnatural, what's the explanation? I didn't mean to I wasn't planning on having an all-night thing here. It's only going to be a short video. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to leave just yet. Look at this one. Now, this is interesting because you can kind of see a line going across here. But this is I cannot rotate this. Where's my, I'm going to have to open up Google Earth, and then we'll see what that has to say. Yeah, this line right here seems like it cuts right through here, maybe. I mean, when you get close, you can definitely see that this one looks natural to me. But the other ones that I showed you, they definitely look like there was some carving going on here. That looks natural, but the ones that I showed you in the thumbnail, to me, now they could have been covered up by some content during flooding, maybe if that's true. See, there's, by the way, what is that? That is I've been there before. The road drives right past that. I got a couple pictures of that. Not a lot of explanation about that building. But it's a lot better than the fortresses are, and it's still standing. So this is maybe that was a canal that went through. To me, that looks like it was exactly that as well. And over here, you can see something that looks like it was deliberately cut through. And if we look at the widths on these, we'll find out exactly. That is 1/10 of a mile. I forgot how big that is. Let's look at Google Earth and see if we can get some feet. This is a very interesting thing somebody gave me in a private Twitter chat. So I was there earlier. These lines, these ancient walls and roads, and this complex is very curious, right? And over here to the left, it gets nutty. And you can see each one has its own little playa lake inside it. So it's like people were doing these yards, and this one, I think it's interesting because there's like a mound right in the middle of it. And you've got this very curved wall. I mean, it's really hard to talk about how this could be a natural feature when you have a straight line breached, very straight, right? Super straight, and all these other straight intersections. And then you've got these curves like this here. These are the types of curves that I was looking at above Mauritania. Sorry, this is Mauritania, but above actually up here, let's just back out. We're in the Tichit area, I guess you can say. Dar Tichit, I guess it's called. There's some very unique lines here that I've shown before, and I can show here very perfectly. Let me clear out all these other lines. I just want to show you. the pictures. And what you see here is this weird damming structure that went, interestingly, where are we? Okay, there. Let's get in there. There's what I call these lines when they line up with features that are at the bottom of the lake bed here, and then go across and then come back, and you can actually line this up and look straight across it and know that, first of all, let's get it over in the middle. You can see that there was something going on here, and that's not the only one. There's others, but they're not parallel. Also, I noticed another possible cut through here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Now, take a look at this. When you go down further, you see more of these strange opposing lines. So there is definitely something going on in Dartichit. The reason why I opened this up, though, was to look at something up there. But no, there's lots going on down here. So if you haven't seen that, you can ask me for the link or whatever. Now, what I was going to do is going to go in here and measure these canal widths. 1, 2, 3. This one is going across. Let's measure the distance of this straight line here. I just don't understand why it's so straight. I'm going to try to go next to it. Is that 4 miles? Let's zoom in and look at it. I mean, look, I got right on top of an intersection right here. Now it kind of gave up the ghost here. Now you can see a line here. So if I wanted to change this a little bit, maybe it doesn't have to be straight, does it? I'm just trying to figure out how long it is. So 3.8 miles. There is a little bit of an arc there. I don't know. Maybe this could be straightened out right there, but still over here it's kind of bent. And then again, we don't even see a clear cut through there. But down below it, we have this other one. It seems to stop about here and cut to about there. We can really see it, at least there. Let's see if it goes farther. Now, these are very faint. Let's take a look at the ones that are not so faint, and let's see the widths. This one looks like it could have been a cut through. So let's get in there and see how wide that really is. And this, we better change to feet. And that's 45 feet. You know, let's be honest, that's wide enough for 2 lanes of traffic. Let's take a look. So we can see that that's a lot wider right there. And over here, we had one that I wanted to measure. This one looks like it's actually 60 feet wide. Oh, it's only 34 foot wide. That's weird. It looked like it was wider than the other one. So is that a single lane of traffic? Is that, where did I measure? Because didn't I just measure that? And then this one was very interesting to me, especially when you see the trees going right down and following the path. From here to here is an interesting cut. That's 60 feet. And this one, it looks like it could have been more dependent on a natural attribute with that curve right there. But it looks like it cut all the way through. Let's just see how long that little canal is. I mean, I'm not going to call these canals in public. I'm just calling them canals right now. So that's not even a mile. It's about 1 kilometer, right? And when we get over here, there's so many weird lines that are parallel that match up, that are carved. I have to go back up here to show you. Starting about here. Okay, now instead of, well, I can rotate this screen. Let me rotate this and look at it parallel to the top and see how parallel these lines are coming out. Now this one going through, we seem to see a second one there and maybe a third one. It looks like 3. I talked about that before. We've got these quarry fields here. People have been quarrying from these fields for hundreds and thousands of years. I don't know where Randall Carlson got that information, if that was from a paper. When he said it in the video, there was another paper. But I pulled that paper up. I didn't find it. So I still don't know where he got that number from. Maybe he was talking to somebody. Okay, I'm pretty much finished here. Last chance to chat about anything. I just wanted to kind of talk about these because I never have before. And I like to talk about things right when they happen. Look at that line. See that line right there? It goes all the way through. What's going on over here? Also, this little area is quite high, right? So this is the second ring. We do have a breakup. And by the way, when you drive in here, you go down here. So you're going through a crevice that separates two mountain ranges for your so-called second ring. And I can show you a video of that happening. And of course, when you're driving through, all you see is mountain. You can't see any of this. That's why the sad part was when I was here, if I had known, I would have gone here. When I was here, I would have definitely visited there. And I might be doing it in the next couple of months. I might go back. We'll see. I have to be able to control everything a lot better. If I went back this next month, actually, I don't think my first stop would be the Richat as much as some other locations around here. That's it. Use the satellites.pro to gain access to Apple Maps. That one looks... And by the way, this one won't rotate, so sometimes you see some straight east-west lines around here. Kind of getting up here, kind of to, I guess, be perpendicular to the circle. See, this is a vast quarry field. Look at all those parallel quarrying lines in there. You've got this line cutting through here. That looks like just a quarry line, but maybe it was some kind of a canal at one point. I think it's pretty crazy. Thank you for the thumbs up and have a great morning. No music? Here it comes. Thank you.